Good morning. So this is just going to be an intro to our trigonometry unit. I want to go over how to label sides, the basics of the trigonometric ratios. So I know that this is my reference angle. Theta is my reference angle. And what we're going to do is use a color, circle your reference angle, circle that side. My opposite side is going to be the only side that doesn't touch my reference angle. Do you guys see that this side is touching it and this side touches your angle? So this is my opposite side. This is the only one that doesn't. You know that your hypotenuse is always the big side, the biggest side of your triangle. Also, it's going to be the one that's opposite your 90-degree angle. So this is your hypotenuse. And then that makes the other side the adjacent side. So this is going to be my adjacent. I'll actually let you do example one, but I really wanted to go over our special right triangles. These are triangles that they're going to expect you to know from geometry or whenever you guys learn this. I'm going to put in the right angle because I need that to be there. And it doesn't matter which one is your reference angle. Let's say this is 45, 45, 90. And let's say this is 1 and square root of 2. So if we're given two sides of a triangle, we can find the third side, even down here. We can find the third side by using the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to say 1 squared plus, I don't know this side, so I'm going to say maybe this is x. So x squared equals, and this has to be your hypotenuse squared. So the c has to be on the other side of your equal side squared. This is your hypotenuse squared. 1 squared is 1 plus x squared equals square root of 2 squared. The square root and the squared cancel, so you're given 2. Subtract 1 from both sides. X squared equals 1. Take the square root of both sides. I'll do it. X is going to equal 1. You guys already knew this, right? All right, there's another type of triangle that we need to know. This is, maybe this side is 1. No, say this side is the square root of 3. And this side is 1. And we're asked to find the hypotenuse, okay? We're still going to use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It doesn't matter which one your a and b are, it doesn't matter the order, as long as your hypotenuse is the one that's opposite your 90-degree angle is on the other side is your c squared. So this could be the square root of 3 squared plus 1 squared, as long as you have your hypotenuse the other side squared. Alrighty, the square root of 3 squared, these cancel each other out, so you get 3. 1 squared is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. And what we're going to do is take the square root of each side. The square root of 4 is 2. And we don't want minus 2 because that's not going to be a side length of a triangle, so we're not going to have a negative. It's just going to be 2. So 1, 2, square root of 3, 1, 1, square root of 2. They will ask you the trigonometric ratios, so find the following trigonometric ratios. And for this, what we learned was SOHCAHTOA. So I'll write it up here. SOHCAHTOA. So stands for sine. Let's do this one. So I'm going to make, you have to pick one of a complementary or acute angles to be your reference angle. I guess I'll choose this one, okay? This is going to be theta. So I'm going to say sine of your angle, which you guys can say 30 degrees or you can say theta. Let's say theta is equal to sine is O, which stands for opposite, over H, which stands for hypotenuse. We really need to label our sides. So my opposite side is 1. My hypotenuse is opposite the 90-degree angle. So that makes the square root of 3 my adjacent side. Okay, and we're going to need this. Sine is opposite, which is 1, over h hypotenuse, which is 2. Okay, cosine of theta. Cosine is adjacent, which is the square root of 3, over the hypotenuse, which is 2. And tangent is the opposite, which is 1. Oops, sorry, tangent of theta equals, let me just erase that, 1 over the adjacent, which is the square root of 3. Now, we never leave the square root of 3 in the denominator. We always have to rationalize our denominator. So I'm going to multiply the denominator by the square root of 3 and the numerator by the square root of 3. And then this is 1 times the square root of 3, which is the square root of 3. And the square root of 3 times itself is just going to be 3, whatever is underneath the square root. Okay? I'm going to let you guys try example 1. So in order to solve right triangles, these are things that we have in our toolbox. If we're given two sides of a triangle, we need to find another one. We have the Pythagorean theorem. If we're given B, we can find A because A plus B add up to equal 90. They're complementary, means they add up to equal 90. And then we need to know SOHCAHTOA. Solve the right triangle where B is 2. They plugged it in for us. And alpha is 40. Very nice. So we need everything else. What we need is to find beta. So I know that 90 minus 40 degrees is equal to 50. So beta is 50. We're going to have to use our inverse trigonometric functions if we're trying to find an angle. Now in this case, we have our angles, we have all three. We're trying to find A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of my angles to be my reference angle. It doesn't matter, I'll pick this one. Circle it. And then based on this reference angle, label my sides. Which side is opposite to 40? That would be A. Which side is the hypotenuse? That would be C. And that makes 2 my adjacent side. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter what we use. We need our opposite side and our hypotenuse. We can't solve for both of them yet. We have to use the adjacent. So why don't you guys use your hand and cover up this side. Cover this side up, cover it up with your hand. And we need our opposite side, but we are given the adjacent. So we need to look at our SOHCAHTOA. Which side uses adjacent and opposite? We need adjacent and opposite. Well, adjacent and opposite, that's tangent. So I'm going to write tangent of what degrees? Tangent of 40 equals, opposite comes first. The opposite side is A over adjacent side is on the bottom, and my adjacent side is 2. You guys remember what to do? In geometry, what I taught you guys to do is to cross multiply. 1 times A is A. 2 times tangent of 40 is not tangent of 80. You have to leave it multiplied. 2 times tangent of 40. Tangent of 40 is not tangent times 40, it's tangent of 40. So you cannot multiply that 2 times the 40. It has to stay out in front like this. Plug it into your calculator exactly like this, and then you'll get your degrees. Okay, so what I got was 1 1.678 and then 2, right? So that'll stay 8. Okay, so this makes sense. 50 is bigger, so 2 is bigger than 40 is smaller. This one would have to be smaller. 1.6. Perfect. Okay, you guys can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the hypotenuse. It'll work. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to use trig because it'll be a little bit more accurate, okay? So in this case, we have the adjacent side and we need the hypotenuse. Which trig function uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So I'm going to say cosine of my reference angle, which is 40 degrees, equals my adjacent side comes first, which we know is 2, divided by my hypotenuse, which in this case is c. We do not know that. We're going to put a 1 underneath my trig function and cross multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. And then c is now in the denominator. So my variable is in the denominator this time. So c times cosine of 40, remember the number comes out in front, or the variable comes out in front, times cosine of 40. I'm trying to solve for c. C is my variable. So what I have to do is divide by cosine of 40. Since cosine of 40 is multiplied by my variable, divide by cosine of 40, okay? Remember, this is my biggest side. It's my hypotenuse, so hopefully this is going to be bigger than 2. So let's plug this into your calculator. 2 divided by cosine of 40. And I got c equals 2.618. We'll bring this to a 1, right? Remember, we're going to round to 3 decimal figures. Alrighty, guys. So go ahead and flip your paper over. It says solve the right triangle. So we have to find everything. When A is 6, beta is 35. You guys know how to find alpha now. Look at what we did on number 2. Let's work on finding B, and then you guys can use the Pythagorean theorem to find C. So what I'm going to do is first pick a reference angle. They didn't give me alpha, so I'm going to use 35. This is going to be my reference angle. My first step is to find my reference angle, okay? My second step is to label my sides. Okay, so my opposite side is a side that's not touching 35. This is my opposite. My hypotenuse is the one that's opposite the 90, the biggest side. And my adjacent is the other side, right? Okay, I need to find my opposite and my hypotenuse. Remember, I can't do both at the same time. So let's find the opposite side first. Well, I'm given the adjacent, so which trigonometric function uses opposite and adjacent? Let's look at SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Which one uses A and O? A and O? No. A, but not O. A and O? Oh, that has to be tangent. So we're saying tangent of what degrees? 35. Equals, it tells you what comes first. Opposite is always first, which happens to be B, over adjacent, which happens to be 6. Ooh, that looks very similar. This is a 6, okay? Now, we're always going to put a 1 underneath my trig function and cross multiply. 1 times B is B. 6 times tangent of 35 is 6. And then tangent of 35. Write it in your calculator. Plug it in just like this. So 6 tangent of 35. B is 4.2012, so 1. And that is right here, 4.201. I want you guys to try to find the hypotenuse. You can use trig or you can use the Pythagorean theorem. Just cover up this side if you're going to use trig. Cover it up and you're going to use the adjacent side and the hypotenuse. So the two boats lie on a straight line with the base of a lighthouse. From the top of the lighthouse 21 meters above the water level. So this is 21. So that means that this triangle that we see right here, this side is 21. And this triangle that we see right here, ooh, this is also 21. Okay, how far apart are the boats? So this is going to be my goal. I need to find the base, or this side of the little triangle, right? And then I need to find this whole side of the big triangle. And then what I'm going to do is subtract them to find just how far away these boats are from each other. That's going to be my goal. So this is my x, and this angle is 53. This right here says it's 21 degrees, so I just made this 21. You could have changed this one to be 27 and then made this one was already 27. So I just kind of fixed this 27 and I made it 21 because they were different. Okay, so if this is 53 degrees, my opposite side is 21, and my adjacent side is what I need. I don't care about the hypotenuse. Therefore, I need to know which trig function, SOHCAHTOA, uses adjacent opposite. Well, we know that is tangent. So I'm going to say tangent of, oh, this reference angle is 53 degrees, equals the opposite side is 21 over the adjacent is x. I'm going to put a 1 underneath my trig function and cross multiply. 1 times 21 is 21. X times tangent of 53 is x times tangent of 53. Remember, we're trying to solve for x, so I need to divide by tangent of 53. And this x is going to equal whatever 21 divided by tangent of 53 is. So let's plug it in our calculator. 21 divided by tangent of 53. And that looks like it's about 15.825. That 4, 6 rounds that up to a 5. Okay, so this right here is 15 feet. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this 21 degrees. This whole side is going to be y because I already used x. And then my opposite side is now 21. This is my opposite. This whole side is going to be y. This is my adjacent side. And then my hypotenuse we don't care about. We're not asked for it, so I'm not going to solve for it. I also have to use tangent because it's the same two sides. But this time it's tangent of 21. Tangent of 21 degrees, because it says 21 right here. I just changed it to be 21. Equals tangent is opposite side, which is also 21, over the adjacent side, which is y. Put a 1 underneath your tangent and cross multiply. 1 times 21 is 21. Y times tangent of 21 is y. Tangent of 21. Remember, we're trying to solve for y, so I'm going to divide by tangent of 21. Divide by tangent of 21. Y equals 21 divided by tangent of 21. Okay? We're going to just plug that into my calculator. Plug it in. And that looks like y is 54.7068, which is 7 feet. Meters, sorry, meters. We're all in meters because this is in meters. All right. So if this right here is 15.8 meters, this is 15.8 because this right here is 15.8, but the whole thing is 54.707 meters. We're asked to find this distance right here. So what we're going to do is subtract 54.707 minus 15.825. What does that give us? What I got was 38.882 meters. Don't forget your M. Let's go over this one. What if we're not given any angle measures? What if we say that A is 2 and B is 3? Can you solve the rest of this triangle? Well, you can find the other side pretty easily, right? Because you know that 2 squared plus 3 squared equals the hypotenuse squared, okay? And you can just solve for x and tell me what the hypotenuse is. But what we haven't done yet today is to find an angle. What I'm going to do is the same steps. Circle my reference angle, label the sides that I'm given. I'm given my opposite side. I'm not given the hypotenuse, but I'm also given the adjacent side. In order to find the angle, you have to be given two sides, or you have to be able to find two sides. Okay, well, which function uses opposite over adjacent? Hopefully you know this by now because we've been doing it a lot today. This is tangent. Tangent of your reference angle, we don't know what that is, equals opposite comes first, which is 3, divided by adjacent, which is 2. And what we're going to do is just take the tangent inverse of both sides. So I'm going to say tangent to -1, tangent to -1. The tangent inverse of tangent is just theta. They cancel each other out. That's why we do it. The tangent inverse of 3 over 2. What you're going to have to do on your calculators is use second tangent. So the blue button and then tangent. So we're just going to go to tangent, second tangent, and then plug in your ratio, 3 divided by 2. And you should get 56.3099, so 3, 1. Now listen, if you're giving this on your test, you have to have a calculator to be able to do something like this, unless they give you those special right triangles, those ratios. We don't know 2 and 3. That's not a ratio that we would ever know. You have to use a calculator. If you get a weird number and it's not 56, if you got something else, it's because your calculator is not in degrees. So go to mode, go down to the right one and press enter, and that'll put it into degrees. Okay? I will have a list of problems that I want you guys to try. Go through and try these. So try this right here, and then you will have some problems that I want you to try out of the book, okay? Have a great day, guys.